Hi everybody, on today's Wednesday Walk in the Park video, I'm going to tell you about the 6 tricks your insurance company uses to reduce the amount of your homeowner's property claim. So I'm Tracy Bookman, owner of Homestead Roofing, and we regularly post videos on Wednesday that are just informational videos, information designed to help you as a homeowner understand the insurance process, understand the re-roof process, and everything associated with all of that. Well, today's video is going to be helpful for you whether you're a homeowner or if you're a contractor, because if you're a contractor, oftentimes you're going to run into these arguments and fights and battles that the insurance companies are going to give you to reduce the amount of the claim for your client, the homeowner. If you're a homeowner, it's really important that you understand all of this information because it directly affects the amount of money that you're going to get on your claim if you've submitted a claim for some sort of property damage. Now, we're roofers, and so we're primarily dealing with just the replacement of the roof. But if you're a homeowner, it could affect you for siding replacement, window replacement, painting, decks, any of that kind of stuff. So without further ado, here's trick number 1, raising your deductible. Now, this is a popular one because they can essentially do it without you knowing about it. Now, that's not quite correct because they do inform you when they do it. And we've made other videos about this, and we'll link to those at the end of this one. But one of the favorite tactics of an insurance company is to raise your deductible, either to make it a percentage deductible, which means that it's a percentage of the value of your home, or to just increase the flat rate of your deductible, say from $1,000 to $1,500. When I say that they do that without you really knowing about it, what I mean is that they inform you when they send you your new declaration page at your renewal, and that has all of the information about the contract that you have with the insurance company, and your deductible amount oftentimes is written in there. So if they've raised it, say, from a flat $1,000 to $1,500 or $2,000, that information is going to be usually contained in the declaration page. If you don't read the declaration page, that's not their fault, right? That's your liability. And so technically, they did inform you, but it has now increased the amount of your deductible, which is your share of the cost of the repairs for your property damage. Trick number 2 is excluding what they call cosmetic damages. Now, cosmetic damages usually only applies to some of the soft metals and like your gutters, furnace vent caps, drip edge, things like that. But more and more, you're going to start seeing cosmetic damage exclusions showing up even for asphalt shingles. So oftentimes an insurance company will say that something is cosmetically damaged but not functionally damaged, and they have an exclusion in your policy for cosmetic damage replacement. A great example is gutters. Oftentimes in a hailstorm, gutters, which are typically going to be aluminum, are going to get pretty beat up by the hail. Well, technically the insurance company can say that's just cosmetic damage. It's not affecting the functionality of the gutter. Water is still moving, it's still coming off the roof, going through the gutter and going down the downspout and away from the house. Is that technically true? Well, it is. However, think about it this way. If you go to sell your home and your gutters are damaged, that could cause you to get an inspection in the buyer's home inspection report, and therefore they may be asking you to take care of those repairs at the time of the sale of the house, which means that then you would have to pay for that. In addition, your gutters now look horrible, right? They don't look the way that they did before. Yes, water still moves through the gutter. It did not functionally get altered, but the gutters look horrible, and you're paying for insurance to replace or repair your damaged property. So what should you do on this one? Well, look at your policy coverage and read it and find out if there are any exclusions for cosmetic damage. Trick number 3 is what I call the "we don't pay for that" trick. And so what I mean by that, this is actually a little different than the cosmetic versus functional damage, because yeah, if they say that it's cosmetically damaged, not functionally damaged, they're going to say, well, we don't pay for that. What I'm talking about is different from that, though. There are items, legitimate items, that are part of a re-roof that most likely you have on your roof right now, and if you have replacement cost coverage on your policy, then your insurance company needs to pay to replace that. Here are the typical examples of stuff that they say that they don't pay for. Starter, all right? Starter shingles typically will go at the eave of a roof, but oftentimes they're going to go up the gable edge of the roof as well. Starter shingles is what your regular shingles, that first course of regular shingles, adhere to. It also keeps the shingles along the edges, you know, the gable ends of your roof, keeps them from getting lifted by the wind, because it gives those shingles something to stick to. Another example is ridge shingles. Now, if you go outside and look at your roof, you'll notice at the very peak there are ridge shingles that go across the top, or cap shingles, okay? They cap off your roof. Now, if you have 3-tab shingles on your roof right now, then the starter and the ridge most likely are just 3-tab shingles. So they used the same shingles as what's covering your roof to be the starter and to be the ridge. However, if you're using a different kind of a shingle, such as a dimensional shingle, maybe a higher grade architectural shingle like a presidential style or something like that, then the starter and the ridge are separate products from the regular shingle. And so if your insurance company is saying, well, we don't pay for that, well, why don't you pay for that? So the question that you as a homeowner would have to ask your insurance company is, can you show me in my policy where it says that you don't pay for those? If you're a contractor and you're talking to an insurance company about your estimate, and you've got those things in your estimate and they're saying that they don't pay for that, there's not a whole lot that you can do about that, and they know that you can't do much about it. So at that level, you're going to have to get the homeowner involved, basically to assist, because the homeowner is the one who has the policy with the insurance company and who is paying the bill. So homeowners, if your contractor is running into that problem with your insurance company, help them out. Trick number 4 that the insurance companies use is to say, well, that's part of the waste. All right, so what do I mean by that? The insurance companies, when they create their estimate for what it's going to cost to replace your roof, they're including in that a waste factor. So they know the size of your roof, and then they build in a waste factor on top of that. Typically it's 10%. So for example, if your roof is 2,000 square feet, they're going to build in a waste factor 10%, so 200 square feet waste. So remember, we talked about starter and ridge. Well, in this trick, what the insurance company tries to do is they say that payment for the starter and payment for the ridge even sometimes is included in the waste. So remember what I said is that if you've got a 3-tab shingle on your roof now, then most likely the roofer used 3-tab shingles as starter and ridge. But if you have a dimensional shingle, you can't use waste shingles as the starter or the ridge, because that's a different product entirely. And so if you've got dimensional shingles on your roof now, you have a different product as the starter and a different product as the ridge. And if you have replacement cost coverage on your policy, then your insurance company needs to pay for that. And we've asked insurance companies, do you really want me to use waste shingles as the starter? And would you please explain to me how I can do that? Now, you know, obviously the person that's on the phone at the other end of the line can't tell me how to do that because he or she isn't a roofer, but you can't do that. And so as a homeowner, again, if your contractor or you are encountering that argument from your insurance company, you've got to push back, because that's that's just residual from the days when everybody had 3-tab shingles on their roof and you could use those products as starter and ridge. Well, so you may be asking, well, why is that such a big deal? You know, those products don't cost very much, and we've actually had insurance adjusters, desk adjusters, tell us that very thing. You know, well, that's all part of the cost of the job. Or you should, as the contractor, you should just eat those costs. Well, I would turn that question around and say, you know what, you're a multi-billion-dollar company. Why don't you eat that cost? Because if your client has replacement cost coverage, then you're supposed to be paying for those things. Trick number 5 is to tell the contractor to reuse items that are on the roof. That's typically stuff like your flashings. So if you have a wall that's got flashing that comes out from behind it down onto the roof, they're going to tell you to reuse that. Pipe flashings, so the pipes that come up out of your roof have metal flashings on them, and oftentimes they'll tell a contractor to just reuse those things. Other things that they tell you to reuse might be box vents, you know, the metal vents that are up on top of your roof that look like little boxes up there. Well, if you're a homeowner, that should really concern you if your insurance adjuster or your insurance company is telling a contractor to reuse items like that instead of installing new. The reason that you should be concerned is because your contractor then can't really warrant those items. So if you ever have a leak or if there's ever a problem, legitimately your contractor can tell you, well, we didn't replace those items, and so therefore they're not covered under our warranty. And so if there's a leak or a problem, then you as the homeowner are going to have to pay for those repairs. Trick number 6, changing your coverage type from replacement cost coverage to what's called actual cash value. There are some insurance companies that will start you off on replacement cost coverage. So that means that your insurance company, in theory, pays 100% of the cost to replace your roof minus your deductible. But then what happens is some companies are moving to this model where after a certain number of years, then they start prorating that and moving you to an actual cash value. So instead of paying 100% of the cost, they prorate you based on the age of the roof. And so then your cost goes up. So for instance, one insurance company does that after 4 years. So after 4 years, then you're only going to get paid a percentage of the total replacement cost, and it's based on market value. And so after 4 years, then your share starts to go up. Well, they don't really explain that to you very well. They're just trying to sell you on the fact that you're going to save, or you're going to get a rebate of 25% of your premiums every year if you don't file a claim. But they don't explain the ramifications to you if you actually do file a claim. So we had a couple of customers in 2018 with that particular insurance company that got the unpleasant surprise finding out that they had a share of 50% of the cost of the roof. That type of coverage is probably going to become more popular. I know there's at least one other insurance company that's doing it, although they start prorating you after 10 years instead of 4. So if you're shopping around for insurance and you're talking to an agent that's trying to sell you on their really low rates, or they're trying to sell you on getting a rebate every year because you don't have claims, do your homework. Dig into that a little bit and find out what would be the ramifications to you financially if you actually do file a claim. And most likely it's probably not going to be real pleasant for you. So if you've stuck with us here until this part of the video, congratulations, thank you. And so we've got a bonus for you here. Trick number 7 that the insurance companies use. This one actually they don't use just simply to reduce the amount of your claim. They use this to actually eliminate their liability to pay for a new roof for you completely. So you would have to pay for a new roof all on your own. So if you get a new roof And let's say you install a Class 4 impact resistant roof. There's one insurance company that we know of so far, probably others will follow suit, that they'll send out a certificate asking that to be signed to show that a Class 4 impact resistant roof was installed, so that way you start receiving a discount on your premiums. That's always been a real good motivator for a homeowner to install a Class 4 impact resistant roof. But now what that insurance company is doing, if you install an IR roof, is they have a separate document that they want you to sign that essentially says if there's damage on your roof that doesn't actually, I think, penetrate the roofing material, that they're going to consider it cosmetic damage and they're not going to replace it. Well, that's a problem no matter what type of roofing material you have. If you've got an asphalt shingle roof and you get damage and it's really beat up, you need to get that replaced. Otherwise you're going to eventually start to have problems, and you're definitely not ever going to be able to sell your house if your roof is all beat up with hail damage. Another area of concern is that, and this actually happened to one of our customers, this is how we found out about this, is if you have a metal roof and let's say there's a big hailstorm and it beats it up and makes it look like a golf ball, guess what? That's cosmetic damage and they're not going to replace his roof. Well, he did not sign that document, and so therefore if he gets damage in the future, now he doesn't get his Class 4 impact resistant discount off his premium, but if he ever gets damage in the future, then he is going to get a roof replacement, whereas otherwise he wouldn't. One of the bottom lines to this video is you as the homeowner really have to do your homework when dealing with insurance companies. They are, of course, in the business of making money. They are in the business of pleasing their shareholders. And so it is incumbent upon you as a homeowner to do your homework and find out which ones are really giving you the best deal. Read all the documents that they give you. I hope this video has been helpful. I honestly did not make this video to bash on insurance companies. Well, maybe a little bit, but I really do want this to be a help to you as a homeowner, or if you're a roofing contractor, I hope this helps you too. If you've got questions about this, please give us a call right up here at our phone number, 719-433-6991. You can also visit our website right down here, homesteadroofingcolorado.com. We've got a ton of information out there, lots of other videos for you. Please be sure to like this video and leave a comment in the comments section down below. We would love to hear from you. And until our next Wednesday Walk in the Park, I'm Tracy Bookman, owner of Homestead Roofing.